All right, let's jump right into today's explainer. We're looking at something, well, something most of us probably dread, the plank. But we're not talking about it for the sake of getting a six-pack or, building a rock-solid core. No, we are unpacking how this incredibly tedious, seemingly boring physical routine actually holds the secret to fundamentally rewire your brain. It's literally about unlocking extreme mental toughness. Let's just be honest for a second. We all know the truth here. This exercise, it offers zero exciting movement. There's no visible progress in the mirror while you're doing it, and there is absolutely nothing flashy to show off to your friends. Like the quote says, you really just lie there and suffer. So that begs the question, right? Why on earth is this considered the absolute best thing you can do for your brain? Well, we traditionally think of the plank as just a physical builder. And sure, it hits your muscles, it's great for spine health, and there's a practically non-existent injury risk. But here's the crazy part. Those physical benefits, they're just a tiny, tiny side effect. The source material flips this completely on its head, revealing that the real game is actually 90% mental. You are literally training your brain and building raw, unfiltered resilience. So let's look at the biology behind what's actually happening. Enter BDNF. That stands for brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Basically, think of this stuff as miracle fertilizer for your mind. It literally grows brand new neurons in the exact areas of your brain responsible for memory, learning, and mental resilience, managing stress. Now, scientists have spent decades trying to bottle this chemical into a pill, right? Trying to fight anxiety and depression. But the wild thing is, you don't even need a prescription. You can get it for free every single morning just by holding still on your living room floor. And this creates a really intense internal tug of war while you're holding that position. Picture this. On one side, your body is just dumping lactic acid into your muscles. That's that burning sensation making your arms shake like crazy. But at the exact same time, your brain is absolutely soaking itself in that BDNF fertilizer. So your muscles are screaming, sure, but your brain, it is just soaking up pure growth potential. Now, why does that chemical flood actually matter? Well, when BDNF is surging through your system like that, your brain is in the absolute best, most receptive state possible to train the single most critical life skill of all, human agency. And agency is basically that deeply rooted belief that you can take action, you can endure, and you can actually change your reality. To put that into perspective, let's look at a famous historical example of how this builds. Way back before 1954, there was this massive mental ceiling. Everyone thought running a 4-minute mile was scientifically impossible, period. But then Roger Bannister breaks the barrier, and within just 18 months, boom, several other elite runners shattered that exact same barrier. Now, human biology didn't evolve in 18 months, right? What changed was the belief of what was possible, and that belief, that mindset shift, is exactly what agency is. Okay, so if it's this miracle fertilizer for the brain and unlocks human agency, why do people always quit? The fundamental roadblock is incredibly simple. It's painful. Our brain's default biological instinct, which is just running constantly in the background, is to escape. It wants to stop the pain and find immediate comfort. You literally have to actively override millions of years of evolution that is screaming at you to drop your knees. To figure out how to hack this powerful escape instinct, researchers actually looked at 30 years of testing on pain tolerance. We're talking studies on burn victims, ice water immersion, surgery recovery, intense stuff, and they found one incredibly consistent, reliable hack: full brain engagement through video games. Subjects who played games while enduring physical pain had remarkably higher pain tolerance, way lower anxiety, and they were actually much more willing to repeat the painful process later. So how do we apply this research to a morning routine? Enter the distraction hack. Step 1 is pretty fun. Pick a genuinely addicting game that your brain actually craves. But step 2 is the golden rule. You only play it during the plank, literally never at any other time. By strictly linking an addictive game to the exercise, you are blasting your reward centers with dopamine. Your brain stops seeing the plank as torture and starts realizing, hey, this is the only way I get that reward I want. You're basically turning pain into a craving. But actually, there's a catch here. Distraction trains the physical body, but it completely ignores the brain. Think about it. If you only rely on dopamine distractions just to survive the time on the floor, you've accidentally turned a profound mental exercise right back into a purely physical one. You are numbing your mind instead of actively engaging and training it. So to actually train your mind, the source recommends what they call naked planking. Don't worry, keep your clothes on. It just means the first half of your plank has to be done with zero distractions. No phone, no music, no games, just you and the silence. This forces you to consciously rewrite your inner dialogue in real time.
when your brain inevitably starts screaming, I don't know if I can do this, you have to actively reframe it to, I am doing this, because at that exact second, you are literally doing it. This naked time is essentially pure mindfulness training. It teaches you to completely separate the actual physical sensation in your abs, which remember, ends the exact second you stop, from the crushing emotional noise piled on top of it. You know, the fear, the self-doubt, that loud inner voice demanding you quit. That emotional layer is what actually breaks you. By pulling those two things apart, you realize you don't actually have to suffer. And the coolest part is, every single time you stay in the hold instead of dropping, you're building up this massive mental reserve. The source actually brings up David Goggins' concept of the cookie jar. Basically, every hard thing you endure, every excruciating second you don't quit, goes right into a mental jar. It becomes concrete, undeniable evidence that you can survive difficult things. Then, when life gets genuinely tough outside of exercise, you just reach in and pull from that jar. Each plank fills it up, and a full jar makes your next real-life challenge that much easier to handle. Alright, let's translate all of this into a daily action plan. It's wonderfully straightforward. Step 1, start with just 30 seconds. Step 2, add exactly 5 seconds every single session. Step 3, track your data. If you want to make this a real habit, follow these progression rules. And keep in mind, 5 seconds is literally faster than skipping an ad on a video, but compounded over months, tracking those extra 5 seconds completely rebuilds your mental endurance from the ground up. Now, the source material actually takes this whole measurement mindset a step further and applies it to nutrition, bringing up their sponsor, the Macro Factor app. The core philosophy they emphasize here is what you measure improves. They explain how the app uses AI food logging to adapt to your metabolism automatically, but it does it neutrally, meaning it recalibrates without any of that red number shaming you get in other apps when you go over a goal. And just to illustrate this measurement methodology, the original creator even offers their audience a 14-day free trial with the code YELLOWDUDE. But the broader takeaway they're making here is really insightful. Measuring and adapting neutrally is just as important for your physical fuel as it is for building your mental resilience. So circling back to our core lesson today, mental toughness is just another muscle waiting to be trained. Seriously, this proves that mental resilience is not some genetic lottery you either win or lose at birth. You aren't just born tough or born weak, it's simply a muscle waiting for your decision. The floor doesn't care about your genetics, right? It just waits to see if you will choose to stay or choose to quit. I want to leave you with this provocative final thought. It's beautifully captured in this quote from the source. The plank was never about your abs. It was about proving to yourself that you can do hard things. If you can successfully rewrite your brain's primal escape instinct right there on your living room floor, what other invisible mental barriers could you shatter in your life if you simply decided to hold on for 5 more seconds? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I hope you found this as absolutely fascinating as I did. Catch you next time.